Now that Sinema and Manchin, flush with lobbyist cash, as I mentioned yesterday, Manchin and Sinema are the top two recipients of lobbyist money now in the entire United States Senate. Both are taking, this is a quote from a piece over on dataforprogress.org. Both are taking in lobbyist contributions at more than 3 times the rate of the average senator. Sinema and Manchin's obstruction of the Biden agenda is being rewarded by lobbyists seeking to influence their legislative priorities. Cori Bush, as I mentioned in the last hour, is saying no. She, the congresswoman and member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus from Missouri, saying, you know, we are not happy with this. These corporate Democrats. She says Joe Manchin does not get to dictate the future. Well, it's looking like he does, and that he will, and that he will continue to. As will Kirsten Sinema, and this, you know, I think we have to prepare ourselves for this possibility that the right-wing billionaires, the Koch network, and you know, the other various right-wing billionaires out there, and the pharmaceutical industry and the health insurance industry, which doesn't want seniors to have dental and eyeglasses from Medicare because that's the big thing that they advertise with their Medicare Advantage plans on TV, have gotten to Manchin and Sinema. And now that politicians can have leadership super PACs where they can basically take all this money in while they're in office, and then after they leave office, they can basically, they got to jump through a few hoops, but it's not particularly difficult to convert it to their own use. So Sinema and Manchin are out there, you know, among others, raking in millions and millions of dollars that is simply going to end up in their own bank accounts over the next couple of years. This, you know, this is, by the way, this was 100% created by the Supreme Court. And when was the last time you heard the media mention that? This, I think, of all the crimes the media commits, of all the errors it makes, but of all the crimes against democracy that the media in the United States commits, the largest one is being ahistoric, non-historic, not putting things in historical context, not telling people how things started, how they got this way, why it is that things are like this. Well, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema are saying no. Why? Well, they're saying no because they're getting big bucks from people who will be hurt by these. Well, why are they getting big bucks from people who will be hurt by these? Specifically, you know, big pharma, big insurance, big oil, big coal. Why are they getting money from those people? Because the Supreme Court struck down laws passed by Congress, by both Democrats and Republicans in Congress in 1974, 1975, and early 1976. In the wake of the Nixon scandals, Congress passed a whole series of laws providing for federal funding of elections and making it illegal for corporations and billionaires and foreigners to buy our elections. And the Supreme Court blew it all up with Citizens United in 2010 in particular. And as a result, today, if you want to be a politician in America, you have two choices. You can serve the people, but that means you have to turn to those same people and ask for their financial support. And that's why you're getting emails in your inbox on a regular basis from politicians that you have supported in the past saying, please send me $10. It's why I get I got 8 emails yesterday from Donald Trump asking for money. 8 of them. Some days I get 10. Some days I only get 6. He is on a tear right now. But the politicians that you support, and he's raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's all going into his leadership PAC, which means it's all going into his pocket. But the politicians that you support, this is the way we put the country back together, is we have to support the politicians, because the other option that's available to every politician in America is to say, screw the people, like Kurt Schrader did here in Oregon. We've got a Democratic congressman here who was the no vote that shut Medicare drug price negotiations in his committee in the House of Representatives. Now, another committee passed it, so thank God it got through. Although, you know, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema took it out in the Senate. But, you know, he was like, no. Why? Well, because he's getting money from the pharmaceutical industry. His dad was a senior executive in one of the big pharma companies. This is, so you've got politicians who, you know, remember the old song, which side are you on, boy, which side are you on? Well, that's where we're at. Politicians are having to choose. Are they going to take money from billionaires and big corporations? It's a fairly reliable source of money. It's very tempting. And by the way, it doesn't end when you leave office. Paul Ryan's making millions of dollars a year now, having been Speaker of the House and having given the billionaires what they want. They will feather the, you know, they will provide you with a nice, well-feathered nest when you leave. So politicians are deciding, which am I going to do? Am I going to serve the people and then be reduced to having to beg the people for money in order to serve them? Or am I going to serve big corporations and the billionaire class? And we know the decision the Republican Party has made, 100% of the Republican Party. Name, you know, please, anybody who can call, name one Republican who's not in the pocket of billionaires or corporations. I literally cannot think of one. There were times in the past when there were Republicans who were not totally in the pocket of these groups. They're gone. They've been purged of the party. And on the Democratic side, I can name you at least a dozen members of the House and certainly 2 members of the Senate who fall into this category of being in the pocket. But to bring it back to the media, why does the media never point this out? Why don't they ever say, because of Citizens United, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are fighting against the Build Back Better bill because big corporations are giving them piles of money? Why don't they ever say that? Why don't they ever point out that it was the United States Supreme Court that said corporations are persons and therefore entitled to First Amendment protections for free speech, and that money is now free speech, something that no law, no Congress, no president, no elected politician in the history of America had ever said before 5 conservatives on the U.S. Supreme Court said it in Citizens United. And by the way, it's not just the Supreme Court, it's the conservatives on the court who did this, not the entire court. They did it over the loud, screaming objections. Read Justice Stevens's objections to Citizens United. It nearly catches the paper on fire. He was so pissed off. But our media just doesn't want to talk about it. Is it because they're lazy? Is it because they think Americans are stupid? Is it because they don't want to out the game? You know, one of the things that got Donald Trump elected was saying, the elections are rigged. The system is rigged. I know because I was one of the guys who rigged it. Back in the day, I used to give money to politicians, and when I needed them, I'd call them and they'd show up. He said that in September of 2015 in a debate with a bunch of Republicans, and he waved at all the Republicans on the platform and said, you know, they're all in the pocket of these people. I'm not taking money from anybody. I'm not in anybody's pocket. And all over America, Republicans said, whoa, I'm voting for this guy. Because Republicans are just as disgusted as Democrats when they discover that their politicians are in the pocket of somebody else rather than serving the people. So where the Build Back Better bill stands now, we have $400 billion for child care and preschool, $150 billion for home care, child tax credits and earned income tax credits, $200 billion, clean energy and climate investments, $555 billion, although Manchin says he wants to see that go, apparently. ACA credits, $130 billion, Medicare hearing assistance, notice no more vision and dental, $35 billion, housing, $150 billion, higher ed and workforce training, $40 billion, equity and other investments, $90 billion, and $100 billion to improve our immigration system. What is gone? What has been stripped out of it? Paid family leave due to opposition from Joe Manchin. Free community college due to opposition from Joe Manchin. Dental and vision due to opposition from Joe Manchin. Lower prescription drug prices due to opposition from Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. And of course, now the tax on billionaires, thanks to both of them. When is the media going to start telling what's going on to the American people? When are Americans going to start demanding that their media tell the truth about what's going on to the American people?